Hey, this is Kathy. Welcome to the Lichen Sclerosus podcast, a journal of learning about and living with lichen sclerosus. Each week, I bring you a different aspect of living with lichen sclerosus and share with you my personal experiences. I am not a medical doctor. All I do is bring you the information so that you can further the conversation with your doctor. Today we're going to talk about normal symptoms, more severe symptoms, and more importantly, I think, secondary symptoms. So the normal symptoms everybody talks about when we're discussing vulvar lichen sclerosus is primarily itching, which tends to attack worse at night, soreness or white ashy skin, or you can have like patches of white ashy skin. The most painful I've found, fissures, ulcers, non-healing lesions, and blisters. So if you listen to last week's episode, when I told you about how I got diagnosed, I was describing I didn't know what to call it, but in my research this week, I found out that it is called a blood blister. And those are also common symptoms of lichen sclerosus, the disease that keeps on giving. Yay! So yeah, blood blisters. It also misshapens your labia. So you would have a misshapen vulva, which, all vulvas are different. So I don't know. You'll also have burning, which can be kind of a secondary symptom. You can also have purple bruise-like patches. Those are caused from blood vessels that are right underneath the skin, and as the skin thins, you end up seeing those blood vessels. Those aren't as common as the other symptoms, but they are definitely a symptom of lichen sclerosus. My other personal favorite, excessive sweating. Yeah, I'm dealing with a bit of that right now. I get up, go to take a shower, and it feels like I washed my underwear, but I didn't dry them all the way. Yay! And you can also have a recurrent yeast infections and urinary tract infections. If you're getting back-to-back urinary tract infections or yeast infections, you may want your doctor to check you for lichen sclerosus. Or if you know someone, you got a girlfriend, and she keeps telling you about her chronic yeast infections or her chronic urinary tract infections, just tell her, you might want to ask your doctor to check you for LS. They probably won't know what LS is unless you shared it with them, but be a good friend. Next, we have severe symptoms. These are the ones that if you're not treated early enough, or if you don't take your medication, i.e. me sometimes, because I'm a badass who, the more I learn about this disease, the more I get scared, and the more I see I'm going to have to change some things in my life. The most severe symptoms, fusing of the labia. Now, this can be the labia minora and the labia majora fusing together to pretty much make one, or worse, them fusing across from each other. You pretty much have no opening to your vagina or your urethra, which makes it kind of hard to go pee. Yeah. In most cases, especially if it's, across your urethra, you have to have surgery to open it back up. So it's very, 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 very important that we take our medications and try to get diagnosed early. You can also have fusing of the clitoral hood, which means you shut the door on your clitoris. Yeah. You cannot get any stimulation, and that is really sad because, some women can't climax unless it's clitoral. If you know a guy who can find that G spot, you in the clear, but it's still quite uncomfortable. Just saying. And the last one is severe scarring of the genitals. The more we scratch, then the skin heals, then we scratch again, then the skin heals again. And all we're doing is just scratching and healing and scratching and healing and scabbing. And every time we, scratch and pull that scab off, all you're doing is, exposing that lower skin, and it can get pretty ugly. So these are what I call the secondary symptoms. To me, they are the worst and the most important, because the other symptoms can get treated. They can physically see them. You can do something about them with medicine, but a lot of these secondary symptoms, man, we deal with these on our own. We sometimes don't even realize that we're dealing with them. So that's why it's important for us to build a community so that we could talk to each other, so that we could recognize these symptoms within each other and help each other out. Especially when we're first diagnosed, we go through a variety of mental health symptoms. We go through depression, we don't know how this is going to affect us for the rest of our life, our relationships. We have to accept the fact that this is a life sentence. We can isolate ourselves. We don't want to see anybody. Oh, especially where we're having a flare up. Nobody wants to be hanging around other people, and you can barely sit. You can barely walk. You can barely go to the bathroom. That is not a feeling that you want to have when you're hanging out with your friends. Low self-esteem. You start thinking that, you're broken. You may never be fixed. Something's wrong with you. And you start feeling down about yourself. If you are not in a relationship, if you be with someone new, they may look at you and feel like something's wrong, and then you have to explain it. It's a mental mind trick, man. Anxiety. That goes with, how is this person going to look at me? What is this going to do to the rest of my life? How am I going to deal with this? What if it gets worse? What is this? Loss of relationships. If you don't have a strong relationship, you go and tell your partner, I have LS, and this is what it is. Mind you, you probably don't even have all the information because dun, 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 your doctor didn't help you. But maybe you did some searches and you went on WebMD and you found out a little bit. And you go back to your significant other and you tell them, listen, I have lichen sclerosus and it affects my genitals. A lot of people, first thing that they're going to think of, is you got a sexually transmitted disease. I don't want you to give it to me. And you try to let them know it's not a sexually transmitted disease. I didn't get anything. And, depending on how strong your relationship and the type of person that you're with, you can lose that person. Especially, you start talking to them about the possibilities of this disease getting worse, possibly, fusing. This can scare some people away. We definitely run the risk of losing relationships. Loss of sleep. I've lost plenty of sleep because the itching, I don't know why, but it just manifests just as I'm laying down, ready to go to sleep. My vulva just wants to start itching. It's like, hey, it's time to party. And I'm like, no, it's time to go to sleep. But she ain't listening. So I got to scratch. Yeah. And then I don't go to sleep right away. Fatigue. Not only are you feeling sleepy because you are tired from staying up, scratching, but you have just general fatigue from all of the other things that you're dealing with, the depression, the isolation, the low self-esteem, the anxiety. All of these things weigh on you and they make you tired. Oh, they make you so tired. Your brain is a muscle And when you have all these thoughts and all these crazy emotions running through your brain, it's working 24/7. And that's going to cause you to have fatigue. Another secondary symptom is pain having sex and pain going to the bathroom, urinating, or having a bowel movement. If you have pain during sex, that's going to circle back to maybe you lose your relationship, because now, depending on how strong it is, if sex is a big part of your relationship and your partner can't deal with, I can't have sex the way we used to, as often as we used to, because it hurts. They may feel like I need someone who's more available. And then you cycle through the whole thing again. Anxiety, depression, low self-esteem. This is a vicious cycle. I'm going to talk more about mental health, and because it's huge. It is so huge. And I think it deserves its own episode. But these things are just what we have to deal with. And I don't know that doctors are looking at these secondary issues at all. I know my doctor didn't talk to me about any of this. This is stuff that I lived. Even a lot of the research, I've found maybe 1 or 2 articles that dealt with the mental health issue from lichen sclerosus. A lot of this is personal issues and reading on the forums and reading personal testimonials. Somebody needs to look into this. These mental issues is exactly why I feel we need to find each other and we need to talk to each other. Not on a forum, not, where you put up a post and then if somebody happens to go on that day, they reply to your post. No. We need to have instant communication with our sisters. We need to be able to speak to somebody, vocally hear a voice sometimes that says, you know what, you're okay. You're not broken. We're going to get through this. I want to create that for us. I want to be able to have that network of sisters where if I'm having a bad day and I need to just vent or hear a sympathetic ear, I have somebody to call, or I can text somebody or email somebody and they can answer me back, not a day or 2 later, but soon, and I know I can't be the only one that feels like this. If you have a family member or a friend that you can speak to, you're lucky, because a lot of us don't. And that family member, unless they also have LS, they may not completely get it. They can be sympathetic, but they can't feel what you're feeling. Over the last week, it's been gnawing at me that I want to create this network for us. I need to create a network for us. The last scariest secondary symptom is vulvar cancer. 4% of women get vulvar cancer due to scarring, which means that primary symptom, that scarring, that constantly scratching and healing and scratching and healing and scratching and healing. Those skin cells, when they start healing again, sometimes something goes a little wrong and they develop into vulvar cancer. That secondary symptom is the one that gets the most attention because the doctors can test for it. The doctors can see it. The doctors can do something about it. It's not invisible like these other symptoms are, but it's the least common. We gotta get help for these other common symptoms. And I want to start helping. I want you to help me start helping with these symptoms for you, for your sisters. We're out here. We need your help. Email me. Let's do this. I need help. I cannot do this by myself. And I recognize that. But I think this is so important. This is something we need. So yeah, email me, please. At least we can start there and start building, start communicating. talking about emails. I got my first email from one of our sisters. Her name is Lena. She's hilarious. She's young. She's only 27. We need to build this up for Lena, for you, for all our sisters that don't even know they have lichen sclerosus yet. Can you imagine how you would have felt if they would have said, you have lichen sclerosus? But guess what? There's a community of women just like you that you can talk to, that you can ask questions, that are going through or have been through what you are about to go through. They're there for you to cry to laugh with, to make you feel better. This is about uplifting each other. This is about helping each other so we don't have to suffer these secondary symptoms. It's not fair. It's not fair that we're kind of tossed to the side. When people get diagnosed with breast cancer, or HIV, some other lifelong awful disease, they already have a community built. They know where to go. There's hotlines. There's people that they can physically get connected with. We need that. We deserve that. And I want to build that with you. And I need your help. Those are the primary and secondary symptoms that are associated with lichen sclerosus. It's not pretty. But we can make it so much better. Please, please, please reach out to me at lichensclerosuspodcast@gmail.com. The website is lichensclerosuspodcast.com. I'm updating the website, so right now it's a work in progress. If you go in the next couple of weeks, it might be down, but it'll be up very, very soon. Shoot me an email. I want to start sharing your stories on here. I want to start listening to you tell everybody else your story, because I believe it can really, really help. I really do. We got to start thinking about the generation that's coming. How about the girl or the woman who is diagnosed tomorrow? When she goes searching podcasts for lichen sclerosus, oh, Jesus. Let me tell you. Well, I'm sure you know because you found my podcast, and which means that you also found all the other podcasts. When they are very medical, they're done by doctors or they're interviews with doctors, and they're very high on jargon, and we need to provide another place. That's all good, and that has its place. We need to provide the place where she can come and she can relax and know that she has found her sisters, and we are here to embrace her, and we are here to help her, and she can help us. So once again, shoot me an email, lichensclerosuspodcast@gmail.com, and I will see you next week. Bye.